Welcome to Amaka Intellectual Factory, where I host podcasts and many other interesting stuff. Today, I'm going to be reading one of my articles. Yes, that's right. And this article is going to be on a very good news on women's health that broke about 2 weeks ago. And that is the renaming of PCOS to PMOS. Of course, I'm going to be giving it my own little spin. So the gist of the matter is that the reason behind the changing of the name PCOS to PMOS is because when the medical condition was viewed as PCOS, focus was on the ovarian cysts. However, with the name change to PMOS, focus is now on the metabolism of women because those symptoms associated with now known as PMOS are metabolic problems. Well, I'm here to give my own spin because I'm of the opinion that the root of PMOS is your genetics. So, without much ado, let's dive right in. PCOS renamed as a metabolic problem, PMOS. But metabolism is only a manifestation, not the source. That is genetics. Part 1 of 2. I guess we could consider this 2-part article to be part of my Strengthening Your Chi series because it discusses a women's health issue and solutions to it. At Amaka Intellectual Factory, developments regarding women's health and wellness are top priority. So you would understand the reason the recent name change of PCOS to PMOS would capture my interest. Apparently, this has been long coming because properly identifying this medical condition gives women who have it a better chance at getting the proper diagnosis, treatment, and most importantly, cure. Dr. Mindy Pelz, in her YouTube video addressing this name change, PCOS to PMOS, said, "This is the number one hormonal problem women suffer from." Now, what will Amaka Intellectual Factory be if I do not give a brief explanation of what PCOS is and why the renaming of PCOS to PMOS is important? According to a quick Google search, what was formerly known as polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, is a common hormonal disorder characterized by an imbalance of reproductive hormones. It occurs when the ovaries produce excess androgens, and that's male hormones, leading to irregular periods, missed ovulation, difficulty conceiving, and physical signs like excess body hair and acne. Again, women who have this condition tend to have high levels of androgens, causing physical symptoms such as excess facial body hair, which is the medical condition known as hirsutism, severe acne, and male pattern baldness. Clearly, something is wrong with the health of women who exhibit these symptoms. And we common people are starting to learn that medical doctors that studied what was formerly identified as PCOS realized this former name was confusing because it caused them to focus on ovarian cysts. But the new name, polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome, PMOS, provides a better understanding of how PMOS affects women's hormones, weight, mental health, and the reproductive system. Dr. Lillian Shapiro, in an interview with Scripps News on the name change of PCOS to PMOS on May 13, 2026, said, "Doctors realized that the cysts on the ovaries of women were more of symptoms than the cause of this medical condition a lot of women suffered from. They knew that this medical condition was caused by metabolic problems because it went along with insulin resistance, diabetes, weight gain, and skin changes like acne." Another formidable doctor, Dr. Mindy Pelz, while also discussing this name change from PCOS to PMOS on her YouTube channel, said, "At the root of PCOS, now PMOS, had always been insulin resistance. And if you can fix the metabolic marker, that one symptom of now named PMOS, all those other symptoms go away because PMOS has always been a metabolic problem." Doctors realized that focusing on the cystic part did not make sense. In fact, at the root of every hormonal imbalance in women has always been a metabolic problem. This is the same with infertility, extreme menopause conditions, and thyroid. When the metabolic system goes down, multiple systems will follow. Dr. Mindy Pelz also impressed upon us that there are lean or slim women who still have PMOS. And just because you are skinny does not mean you do not have a metabolic problem. In PMOS, high insulin was driving testosterone high in women. This is why many women have a lot of facial hair and lose their menstrual cycle. And if you want to balance your sex hormones, start by looking at where insulin is. Look at insulin, glucose, and hemoglobin A1C. Keeping our eyes on this target will solve so many hormonal problems. Dr. Mindy Pelz further said, "Women with PMOS have a higher chance of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, strokes, fatty liver disease, hypertension, and lipedema." Okay, so that's that on these two doctors. But you are more than welcome to look into other doctors discussing PMOS. However, I am confident that referencing these two amazing female doctors is more than enough to keep you, my reader, and listener and viewer, I guess, sufficiently informed about PMOS, formerly known as PCOS. Now, with that being said, I'm going to give my take on all of this. Despite this commendable progress, I am still confident that we have not yet addressed the root cause of the PMOS problem. Without mincing words, I am talking about genetics or DNA. The fact of the matter is, the root cause of PMOS is your genetic makeup. Once upon a time, it was common knowledge that potential health predispositions were due to your genetics or DNA, even to people outside of the medical field. I guess as modern science became more conventional, we lost this knowledge. The truth and fact of the role your DNA, genetics, play in your health remains unshakable, despite our loss of this knowledge. Nevertheless, genetic or DNA predispositions are not necessarily death sentences. There are lifestyle changes that have been scientifically proven over and over again to put a person with genetic predisposition to illnesses at a much greater advantage than someone with stronger genetics who does not have a healthy lifestyle. And so, in part 2 of this article, the conversation will be on the proper diagnosis, treatment, and possible cure for PMOS. The end of my article. So there you have it. My spin is metabolism is simply a manifestation, and that your genetics or DNA is actually the root cause of PMOS. That's pretty much my spin to the story. But as always, you are welcome to share your opinions and start a discussion. I'm always looking forward to it, and I'll be very glad to join you. You don't have to agree with me. I'm very much interested and looking forward to the intellectual banter. Well, that's all I have to say for now. Until next time, take care of your lovely selves. And remember, life is beautiful and worth living.